It was supposed to be an ordinary summer night. Riley Goodrich and Anthony Barajas had just met weeks earlier at a 4th of July party, and sparks flew instantly. Now, they were finally on their first date. The plan was simple: grab dinner at Riley's favorite restaurant, and then catch a late-night showing of The Forever Purge at the Regal Edwards Theater in Corona, California. Riley, cheerful as always, sent a text to her mom midway through the film. She admitted the movie was boring, but that didn't matter because she was enjoying Anthony's company. That was the last message she ever sent. When the movie ended close to midnight, the theater lights came on. A worker stepped inside to begin cleaning. At first glance, Riley and Anthony seemed to be dozing in their seats, but as the worker drew closer, his stomach dropped. The couple wasn't asleep. Both had been shot in the head. Riley was gone instantly. Anthony was still alive, barely clinging to life. Riley Goodrich was a bright, popular 8-year-old from Corona. She had been a cheerleader, a volleyball player, and the kind of girl who made friends everywhere she went. Just weeks earlier, she'd finished her first year of college at Grand Canyon University in Arizona and returned home for summer break. Anthony Barajas, just 19, was already a rising star. Known for his charm, humor, and kindness, he had built nearly 1 million followers on TikTok, posting comedy skits and sharing his daily life. He was a soccer player, a martial artist, and a natural communicator who lit up every room he walked into. The two young souls had met by chance at a holiday party, and in each other, they had found something special. That night, only 6 tickets had been sold for The Forever Purge. Riley and Anthony held 2 of them. The other 4 belonged to a group of young men, including one who would later become the focus of the investigation, Joseph Jimenez. At first, police thought maybe Riley and Anthony had turned on each other, but there was no gun, no residue on their hands. Then, another clue surfaced: Riley's wallet was missing. This was no suicide pact. It was murder. Detectives were faced with a nightmare. A theater is filled with thousands of fingerprints and traces of DNA. Sorting out one killer from the crowd would be nearly impossible. Their only lead? The 4 other tickets, a group of friends, all of Hispanic descent, who had sat together that night. Were they witnesses or were they killers? As police tracked the group down, 3 of them told the same story. Their friend Joseph had been acting bizarrely the entire night, muttering to himself, rambling nonsense, and talking about danger that no one else could see. During the movie, he left for the parking lot and returned with a box. Inside, he told them, was a gun. The friends didn't know if he was serious, but his behavior terrified them. Pretending to go to the restroom, they slipped out of the theater, leaving Joseph behind with Riley and Anthony. As the movie thundered on with gunfire and chaos on screen, Joseph stood up. He walked toward the couple sitting just rows ahead. Without warning, he raised his weapon. One shot to the back of Riley's head. Instant silence. Anthony lifted his head in shock just in time to see Joseph pull the trigger again. The bullet struck his eye. Joseph calmly tucked the gun back into its box, snatched Riley's wallet, and walked out into the night as if nothing had happened. When police caught up with Joseph at his trailer days later, they found the murder weapon and Riley's wallet. He denied involvement at first, but soon, a story began to unravel. Joseph claimed he heard voices from someone he called Abigail. He said he had schizophrenia and that the voices had convinced him the teens of Corona wanted him dead. That night, according to him, he acted on those whispers in his mind. As Joseph sat in custody, Anthony's fight for life continued. Fans around the world held their breath, hoping for a miracle. But 5 days later, doctors confirmed what his family dreaded. Anthony was brain dead. His organs would be donated, saving others, even as his own life ended. The funerals of Riley and Anthony drew hundreds of mourners, 2 families united in unbearable grief. The case dragged on for years. Joseph's lawyers argued insanity, pointing to his schizophrenia diagnosis. But the prosecution fought back with chilling evidence. Videos Joseph recorded of himself that very day, videos showing he was calm, collected, and in control. And then there was the theft of Riley's wallet. That act, prosecutors said, proved he wasn't in a psychotic haze. He knew what he was doing. In February 2024, the verdict was read. Joseph Jimenez was found sane at the time of the murders. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a life locked away, while Riley and Anthony's lives had been stolen in an instant. It began as a first date filled with promise. It ended as one of the most senseless tragedies California had ever seen. Riley Goodrich and Anthony Barajas will be remembered not for the horror of their deaths, but for the brightness of their short lives. And the question that lingers, how many more warnings must go unheard before another voice whispers a command that ends in blood?